Adani opened up a coal port and power plant in Mundra, India, which left the land barren and unsustainable. Do you think this will happen in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think a similar thing could happen over here. I mean, there'll be some very short-term gains for employment in the local region, but once the coal's been mined and the land has been used up, there'll be long-term effects on the sustainability of the land. We'll have to pay for the carbon dioxide that's been put into the atmosphere for the next hundreds of years, and the jobs will be gone. There'll be no long-term benefits. The money and the royalties will be going out of the country to an Indian company. So yeah, you'll have basically unsustainable land left, a long-term legacy of climate change and no jobs into the future.
The Australian government is allowing a coal mining company to eventually destroy our reefs versus investing in renewable energy.
I think yeah, it's ideology that's driving the decision. Because the fossil fuel lobby is so strong and the coalition government is so supportive of the fossil fuel industry, I think they're focusing on the potential jobs that Adani say they can create, which is, they're saying 10,000 in the region, but the numbers are going to be much less than that, probably closer to 1,000. And they're choosing to focus on that rather than the losses in the tourism section if the barrier reef does get damaged, which are probably hundreds of thousands of jobs and massive amounts of income to Australia.
Railway station. The mine requires obviously a railway line which links to the Abbott Point coal terminal, which is situated in a position where any transit routes from that terminal require passage through the Great Barrier Reef. That requires dredging of the reef. It's pretty common knowledge that the East Australian coastline has extremely strong currents. You just have to watch Finding Nemo to see, the East Australian current, hop on it. It's big, we know about it. And we're looking at dredging channels through extremely intensely currented areas like that, and we're not considering the fact that that dredge material is going to move, and it's going to move southwards mostly over the barrier reef. And we're talking about the world's largest living organism there, literally the world's largest living organism. It's within our borders. We are a first world nation with the knowledge and the ability to look after that, and I think that's a really unique opportunity. I think that's something that you really can't take for granted, and I don't think, particularly in that area, that investing in something like coal mining can possibly ever go hand in hand with an understanding of how significant that is. The routes around it, we're talking about dredging through the reef. You're looking at ships passing through the marine park, and I don't think it's any secret that giant container ships, that coal ships are not exactly efficient. Statistically, you could take every car in the world off the road and it would only compensate for something like 200 of those giant container ships that are running around the ocean. They're not particularly efficient, safe or clean methods of transport, and we're talking about moving the world's biggest export point for coal into the middle of what is probably one of the most delicate ecosystems on the planet. Entire ecosystem based around that. The highest percentage, the highest species that exist there cannot simply exist elsewhere in the world, and they're all essentially 100% dependent on the reef, whether directly or intrinsically. It's massively important, and a 70% bleaching event or a 30% bleaching event, even if we only see what we've seen in the last few years, is going to have impacts massively beyond just the reef.